Yo, 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 what is going on, CoD Familia? It is your boy BN. Today we are going to be covering a new storyline that happened in SOS 3 5004. Now, this was a part of the first Gen 1 KVK group that went into Dragonfall. This is going to be about FSK and SJT and Kyle, and a number of, I guess, other branches that might come off from that. In short, FSK betrayed SJT or started attacking them. Maybe SJT betrayed FSK. SJT was told to do certain things. They may have not done those, and that could have been the reason why FSK basically started attacking them. Now, you'll keep in mind that FSK, here in their Zone 1, is not in a Zone 2, or sorry, Zone 3, and they're not in a Zone 2. They have effectively removed, right, and you could see here some SJT territory. There's also some SJT territory over here, and there's no more SJT territory, which was, I believe, once around here, and I don't think there's any more dead flags. Let's go ahead and we're going to share with you some POVs. We'll share with you some screenshots, and as always, if you enjoy the content, make sure you throw us up, because we're going to find out what happened. So, let's go ahead and break down some of the goods, which is going to be sharing with you some POVs first. So, it was reported that SJT had built a bastion in the wrong place. They did Hydra while KVK allies were fighting, and that more or less summed up some of the reasons on why FSK declared them open to attack, which was in that kind of northwest area of the Zone 1. We have here that from the Laws POV, I'm going to share this first. So they said that FSK were great allies to us last season. Now, keep in mind, right, any of the POVs are always going to be from either the R5, it could be from a diplomat, it could be from another officer, but usually those people are the ones that are initially contacted with the lead, and then typically 2 to 4 officers, and then I usually wait to get a response back. FSK were great allies to us last season. They stuck to all their promises, even when I didn't necessarily think we deserved it. They promised us first capture on the Dragon, but we couldn't do it alone. We did a few attempts with Dawn and FSK, but because we couldn't warband, we ended up having friendly fire in the lair, and couldn't do it, sadly. In the end, FSK and OGZ did the Dragon, and then they told us to purify. Excuse me. This caused some issues with OGZ, disagreeing with the move, and they ultimately blamed it for one of the reasons they migrated out of FSK server after this KVK started. I think they had already decided to leave before then, as I had already heard rumors of them having an OGZ project before Dragon Zone even opened. Let's work our way down. Kyle is a strong-minded leader. He always makes the best decision he can for his alliance and tries to ensure the best possible KVK for his members in initial Diplo. However, he does need allies to basically agree to his plans as well, or if you have a different opinion, you have to be respectful and not undermine him. It seems like their allies from this season were not doing that. His fighters are crazy strong and they go hard in the paint. But losing around 30% of their fighters through the fighters, though, with OGZ migrating out, was a hard blow, and probably would have actually put them to a Paragon B level instead of A, so they would definitely need to rely on support from their allies. In Zone 2, we fought them with FO against FSK and SJT. SJT took first capture on their closer Cosmic Rock, and FSK pushed us off the plateau. We were technically losing. The timing was horrible around New Year's Eve and Day. However, throughout the course of the fights, SJT was never a driving force for anything. Shots fired. I cannot think of a time where we pushed and the defensive was led by SJT. It was always FSK having to tank and SJT kind of hiding behind them. We built around and took their rock, and SJT couldn't even hold us with like 20% of our fighting force, destroying and building on that side, while the rest of us forced the plateau where FSK and SJT were fighting together, burning our flags. FO, FG's second fighting alliance, was building the top side as well, but they weren't really there yet either. The only time they could even thwart us there was if a few of the FSK whales would teleport in on SJT territory and kill our destroyers. But you would expect a B-seed alliance to be able to hold off 20% online force of another B-seed alliance, i.e. SJT versus us. After it became evident that they had lost their rock, SJT in this case, even though they won the plateau fight, FSK, decided they were done fighting us basically 2v1 with minimal support from their allies, who couldn't even hold the rock that FSK let them take with no real benefit to them, and told their guys to pull out and heal for Zone 3. This was a few days after fighting on the other side of the map finished, so they wanted to be healed up for Zone 3. I think tensions between FSK and SJT were already high at that point. From what I heard, SJT also had a period of over 24 hours of radio silence to FSK during that zone. Almost done. In Zone 3, FSK and SJT managed to secure both the closer Hydra and the Necro areas in Zone 3, but Dawn and RKT were pushing them hard. Again, FSK gave the closer Hydra to SJT, which they built to. Yesterday, and to keep in mind this one is the last storyline from early January, yesterday Dawn and RKT managed to push them in the Necro area with Bastions. Kyle garrisoned the FSK Bastion and rallied the Dawn and RKT Bastions, and FSK were reinforcing and fighting until they had no troops left to fight, with, again, minimal support from SJT. And while they were trying to finish burning a Bastion, which was on low health, after burning it twice, SJT weren't reinforcing. Then, Dawn and RKT were burning FSK flags and players, and while this was happening, SJT decided to do Hydra raid rather than help them. That was the final straw, it seems, as things kicked off after that. Okay, now let's hear from the AXT side on this one. So AXT says, Kyle of FSK forcibly merged SJT and SJP. SJP could not fit all players into one alliance. Ended up losing some players mid-KVK. SJT wasn't really responding to FSK Kyle. He was yelling at them in diplomacy, Union Discord. SJT wouldn't help FSK in Zone 2 due to build-up, which made FSK lose. This happened again in recent Zone 3. FSK was fighting for 36 hours with no support from SJT. SJT opted to capture Hydra instead of assisting against VOS Dawn. This was the final straw. So two alliance reps kind of corroborating more or less the same. Felt that FSK Union had a good chance to win season, but doesn't feel that it's possible once FZ opened. AXT, HOUW, and SJT will still fight and try to recover the season. Sad to see SJT members get rallied by Voston FSK. We are the weakest kingdom in this AB group. No strangers to uneven fight. We will fight until we cannot. So yeah. Now let's listen to the FSK side. So this was something that one of the members of management reached out. It's been kind of difficult. I know I've said this over a number of times already, but as far as kind of reaching out and getting a hold of Kyle, that has kind of, I guess, proved difficult with, me basically just not getting any responses from him, which again, right, to each their own. So SJT disappeared when FSK needed help, wanted them to assist takeover on front line, but they raided Hydra instead. SJT said, we do not take orders from you. They are not losing due to fort position changing. SJT failed and then blamed FSK for failure. FSK goes to war with SJT due to them backstabbing. Now, I don't necessarily know if SJT, if we can title that necessarily as backstabbing as much as it feels based on the two previous responses prior to the FSK response that it more or less came down either to maybe capabilities, maybe strategy and tactics, maybe activity. But I don't even think any of the other responses ever hinted at that this was done maliciously or on purpose. Next, we have the SJT POV. Everything up until yesterday was cordial. Then FSK disbanded the warband and started attacking SJT gatherers, then cities. Excited to get FSK in same zone 1, though have heard... and I should state this, right? I initially said I think that SJT might have been in the same kingdom as FSK. So if I did say that in the beginning, which short-term memory loss is probably a real thing at this point for me, as always, yeah, they're different kingdoms, So just to restate. Though we have heard others, excited to get FSK, though have heard from others they are not reliable allies. Some players in our kingdom laughed after MM decided to merge into one alliance from two, could have brought some communication challenges. Zone 2, we pushed enemies, like was planned. got Behemoth. First challenge was FSK feeling like we didn't help enough in Zone 2. Our kingdom is mostly Korean, so activity windows will be different for us and them. Now that's something that I think is really important to note, which it appears that their main or primary activity windows are basically in the opposite end of what FSK activity windows are. So you have to imagine that if FSK is wondering why they're not pushing when they're pushing, well, it's because their primary activity window is on the other end. And this apparently was something that the FSK leadership knew based on what the SJT rep had told me. So again, it's just interesting to me that that wasn't referenced at this time. And again, is that absolutely true? Is it not? Right? That's what I was told. Next, our kingdom, FSK was told of SJT activity windows and could not assist that much during the times they would need during FSK activity window. Enemies couldn't push Zone 2 middle, so they went top towards the Behemoth. SJT went to defend, but lost it and zone, and FSK didn't agree with move. After Zone 1, Ally Kings wanted to talk about challenges. FSK R5 didn't want to talk. His plans were best, and it was our fault in their eyes. Zone 3 started well, got Necro, though placed Bash in the wrong place, felt there was an in-game translation error in the communication. FSK felt again we didn't do enough. FSK pushed out of zone. They were out of troops. FSK said they will heal and defend again in 12 hours. SJT went to defend Hydra while waiting. Enemies attacked during low activity and recaptured. FSK never showed up. That is interesting. Obviously, this is kind of the first response or first time we're hearing that, oh, well, they said they would heal back up in 12 hours and then come and fight. They never showed up. Did they say that? And if so, why was that not followed? Or did they not say that? Was there kind of some translation miscommunication somewhere? And then while we were fighting, FSK removed us from Warband, disconnected territory at Pass 3, started attacking SJT players in Zone 1. Okay, that's the summary. Let's get to some screenshots. This is the first one where you can see FSK attacking a SJT tower. The next one, and these are going to be a little small. So here we go. Let's do the following. Ignore what they say and just kill all SJT and all 287. Rally their castles. Kill all their farms. We kill everything in Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3. All SJT, all 287, all of them, and we do it properly. This is a direct order. Obviously, this is appearing from Kyle there of FSK. And yeah, so that, I mean, obviously, it looks rough. I'll just say that. Here's another one. At Pass 3, same thing happened again. They ignored what I told them. For 2 times, we would win the war twice, but lost twice. Because SJT left us burn again. Yesterday, we rallied Moon for 11 hours. Their bash was 23% HP left. SJT could just help us, and we win, but they choose to steal Hydra Reward in the evening. We got massively and badly pushed. All our hospital, full SJT could have helped us. They didn't. They left us burn. In Pass 2 was just stupid and useless. Then Pass 3 is not. They deliberately let us burn, and that is 100% backstab. Today, we saw so many of their troops defending Hydra. I went absolutely mad. I mean, why let us die yesterday? Beside all their verbal abuse, which, again, I haven't seen any screenshots of that. All their senseless blames. Now it's payback time. Let's do the following. Right, so this is kind of, I guess, the first part to that message, and the second part is the bottom. Right, again, I haven't, like I said, I haven't seen any screenshots shared that would indicate that, or any commentary responses from others that are making it seem as though SJT did this deliberately. It is something, I don't know, maybe, but again, nothing for me is showing at the moment that that's the case. Next. Oh, wait, here. Yeah, there we go. So now it's, okay, now we go to war with SJT. The reason is simple: backstab. Over the last few seasons, I was always very accommodating to our ally. We try our best to work with our ally. Last season, Law couldn't take Dragon first kill. We helped. Because of that, we had major internal drama, but that's okay. In principle, did the right thing. Before the season started, we were already many brainless drama from 287, for example, war plan for Pass 2. We told them what to do, yet they ignored or vanished. So this is interesting, right? He kind of doubles down on saying, well, we told them what to do. Then you get the response from the others, which is, and not only from the SJT group, but from one of the other POV responses as well, where you had 2 people basically cooperating that when kind of working with FSK, it's basically kind of our way or the highway kind of a thing. And that's just the way that it appears, with Kyle basically reconfirming that in this part of the mail. I was like, okay, you are stupid and useless, but you are my ally. I will carry this. Tartamingo. I mean, you cannot always complain with what you get, right? So we won the ramp war 1v2, and they decided to leave us get burned. We had no troops left, so we have to forfeit. Basically, SJT screwed us in PES 2, but that's okay. I thought they were just, oh jeez, gosh, I mean, all right, pretty aggressive there in the language choice. So these are some screenshots that were shared with me. Now, I don't know who sent these, who did not send these, did the people in any of these send these? I don't know. But this was shared with me. So this was apparently, I think, Julia, if this is her, or maybe someone else, who basically provided this SJT tower. Someone's crying, and then I'm too mad. And then this one, FSK just betrayed us, WTF, I'm so mad about that. He mentions that after being defeated in Zone 2 and Zone 3 as revenge, he wants to burn all of SJT, but I will not give up. I will do whatever it takes to win this war. And then here's something else where I don't know who this was from exactly, but this was a translation. So it says, lazy package, wow, the previous leader had already discussed and allocated rewards at the beginning of the season. When they reached level 7, they got a new R5 and said that the rewards needed to be reallocated. We wanted to reward the, oh, this is a BTR thing. Oh, wow, maybe that was one of the screens that I forgot there. Well, there you go, a little bit more context maybe to that one. This one, we asked for 12 hours to recover, and during that time, we were left to fight the enemy alone. You asked it to FSK. After 12, FSK stabbed us in the back with a knife. This is the key point. So this is kind of just a message from the SJT person mentioning that, hey, the 12-hour thing was mentioned to us. Obviously, we'd have to see that message from FSK in order to really corroborate. Yes, all this time I wanted to block the enemy with SJT alone. All this time I wanted, and then I didn't know you'd stab your friend with a knife after a break. Right? They say really sad. I didn't know you'd stab, really sad. I don't like betray. Please make sure to share this with your friends. And then this was a message that I think was translated with either Google Translate or Glass. It basically just shows the tower, Dawn Alliance Tower. This person at SJT says there is no reason why SJT should only follow your orders. And then this person, you are not the leader of SJT. We fight together, but we are not losing because the fortress position has changed. So I guess just, again, a little bit more of a response at that point from what we had seen. All right. There's quite a lot, I think, to unpack. There's obviously a number of questions I still have. We didn't necessarily get, every piece of information that could probably give us a lot more in full clarity. However, I think the things that stand out in this case is that, one, there's no indication from what we've seen so far that SJT deliberately backstabbed or betrayed FSK. If anything, I think it looks more like, again, based on what we know at the moment and what we've seen, that FSK was frustrated with the situation, and whether you want to say they let their emotions get the best of them, they made a decision to go and attack another, basically your ally, that's in the same zone 1 as you. And any potential fighting that they maybe could have done, even any resurging of PvP activity that could have happened throughout the entirety of the season, right? That could even still be happening now, is kind of lost at that point, right? So did they just not care at that point? Did they not value their fighters at that point, given what had happened? Especially when you have to consider that Zone 2 and Zone 3 are not the primary and main zone target. Final zone is, which is Zone 4. And so, if anything, you make this decision, which I believe was before the FZ opened, and you completely eliminate them from being able to participate with you against your allies, where on top, let me be clear, on top of that, you would also have your other allies from the other adjacent or opposite Zone 1. So it's just, I guess to me, it just feels very premature, if that is an appropriate way of saying it, on why would you kind of opt to take this action this early when even if only a handful of them showed up to fight, that's still better than 0, especially in the FZ. So at face value, with what I've read, with what we've shown, I don't understand this move. This feels more of a bad look on FSK than I think whatever SJT's look is. Like, they kind of come off more as the victim in this case. Now, again, that's just based on what I've seen, what I've read so far. And on top of that, this decision was made before the Crescendo Pinnacle Final Boss Zone had opened. So yeah, obviously it sucks. It's rough to see. I don't think anyone, again, wants to be in these kinds of situations. But man, I mean, it's funny, man. I saw a comment for the video that I put out, I think on the 3rd, and it was the one about BTR, and someone had commented saying like betrayal meta incoming or something, and it's just, I mean, it kind of feels like that when you read about some of these stories and there's, a couple betrayal situations happening. It's like, who knows, man? Maybe it's making a comeback, and not in a good way. So let me know what you guys think. Again, if you're in this KVK, if you have some more context, right, throw a comment down below. Give us a little bit more clarity. Share your POV. Would be happy to hear. And yeah, that's it for me. If you want to hear more stories like this, right, feel free to slide into my DMs. You can also submit any anonymous tips on my Discord. There's a tip hotline on there too as well. And yeah, we'll catch you next time. Later.